Now, Springwatch on BBC Two tonight starts its second week of bringing some of Britain's best wildlife to our TV screens. And here on Midlands Today, we have our own Springwatch story with the news of a tiny endangered animal which has just been discovered in Shropshire. We sent environment correspondent Gregory-Kumar to film the Des Moulins whirl snail, and he had to look quite hard. It's no bigger than a pinhead.
In a swampy mere just north of Whitchurch in Shropshire, I'm getting soggy knees hunting a tiny creature, and it's all a little bit pot luck.
We're right in the marsh here, so where would we find them now? How do we look for them?
Well, you can see all these vertical stems of vegetation, and at different times of day they will be at different positions.
These snails are so small I'm no help at all, so I'm going to leave finding them to the expert.
To be brutally frank, you collect them by bashing the plants around a bit.
Yeah, you do.
What did we find in here then?
Well, this is just a series of sort of adult Des Moulins whirl snails.
If you hadn't told me there were snails, I wouldn't know there were snails.
Well, I think this is the whole thing, isn't it, about sort of hidden natures, that there's certain things that you don't know are there unless you look.
These guys are tiny. You could mistake them for plant seeds or tiny stones. Look at the size of my finger. But despite their size, they are really important, internationally protected, and yet we didn't even know they were here.
Up here in the Midlands, in the meres and mosses, we have very strong populations spread over a number of sites, which makes this place probably the national hotspot for this particular species at the moment.
And this is something we don't think anyone's caught on camera before. A tiny Des Moulins snail actually moving. It really is a proper snail in miniature. Famously, these snails nearly derailed the Newbury bypass, and despite a legal battle and protests, they were eventually moved to a new home. But the landowners here welcome the snail as a sign the mere is really healthy.
And it's the first time I've actually seen them.
Okay.
They are. I was surprised how small they are. But when you do see them under this microscope, the colours and the beauty really springs out, doesn't it? It's lovely. Something so small is getting so much attention.
For fans of the Des Moulins, small is beautiful and important.
This small snail is disappearing from its traditional strongholds in the south of the country and in the rest of Europe. And that's why it's so exciting to find it here in the Midlands, here in Shropshire. And while people tend to focus on saving things like pandas, whales, tigers, it's just as important to save this tiny Shropshire snail.
The Des Moulins whirl snail then, the tip of an iceberg of creatures that are vital to the environment, but that are so small we rarely notice them at all. Gregory-Kumar, BBC Midlands Today, near Whitchurch.
And you can read more about the Des Moulins snail on David's blog. That's bbc.co.uk/David Gregory-Kumar. And the Springwatch team, they're back on BBC Two at 8 o'clock tonight.